Have you noticed that everyone seems a little more annoyed, frustrated, or angry lately? If you've also noticed that you may even have become one of those people, then stick around because in this video series, I'll be sharing accessible information and practical applications for reducing anxiety, which often manifests as increased irritability, annoyance, frustration, or anger. Today, in this video, I'm providing an overview of the symptoms and 3 ways to get us started working on the solutions. Greetings and welcome. I'm Nicolette, and I truly appreciate you spending and investing this time with me. If this is your first time visiting this channel and you would like to receive my videos on self-care and self-development for those who serve, then be sure to subscribe and turn on your notification bell so you won't miss the next one. Now, let's get into today's session. So if you've been feeling like every little thing sets you off, like you have little to no patience, that things that would normally roll right off your back now make you feel more annoyed and angry, people upset, frustrate, and disappoint you more than normal, that you are prone to react more quickly, aggressively, or combatively to situations that don't necessarily warrant those reactions, or that dealing with life in general is just less tolerable, please know that you are not in bad company. Many people have expressed feeling this way lately, and those are just the thoughts and feelings, not to mention the physical effects that those feelings show up as in our bodies, such as racing heartbeat or palpitations, chest pain, shortness of breath, ringing in the ears, headache, neck tension, upset or nervous stomach, numbness in the fingertips, trembling, dizziness, pulsing or ringing sound in your ear, tightness around your head, your stomach, or your rib cage, or sleep problems. As someone who practices routine self-care and daily wellness workouts and supports other people in doing so, I've been in many conversations with people who have been experiencing some or all of those symptoms. And at one point, to be honest, I found that in some ways I was beginning to experience some of those symptoms as well. And that drove me to revisit my research on the root of it so that I could share some new and old strategies that we can all use to reset our centers and get back to better. With everything so out of whack with the world right now, it's actually no big surprise that we're all just a bit more off balance than usual. It could be that we just feel more unsure, uneasy, or uncomfortable with the unpredictability of our lives. There are always unpredictable elements to life because we do not, nor can we control everything that happens with, to, or for us. But I know that over the last few months, that what is beyond our control has ratcheted up tremendously. And that can make normal daily occurrences and challenges just seem much more frustrating and difficult to deal with. This all stems from anxiety. So, anxiety is one of those words that started out as a purely clinical psychological term, but as it has made its way into our everyday speech and is now tossed about so often that many people have begun to use it synonymously with feeling nervous, feeling eager, and even enthusiastic. So, it's good to start by defining it the way that I'll be thinking of it and referring to it throughout this series. So, Webster's dictionary defines anxiety as a state of apprehension, uncertainty, or fear from the anticipation of a real or imagined event or situation. I also want to make another point about this, and that is that we all experience anxiety in different ways at some point in time. And it is absolutely a normal part of being human. Anxiety only becomes a problem when it impedes our ability to function. So, having strategies for dealing with the various anxieties that we do encounter helps us to live more optimally because when we experience any type of anxiety, it does something in our bodies that is not good. It creates and triggers, rather, our stress response. Stress is our body's reaction to what we believe to be dangerous situations. We know that we are compelled to fight, flight, or freeze when we are in these situations. When we experience stress, our minds and bodies reacts with the thoughts and feelings and physical reactions that I mentioned at the top of the video. It does this to alert us or to indicate that a threat or some form of danger is present, whether real or imagined. So if you notice any of these things going on with yourself, it's important to pay attention, especially if they have been debilitating in some way or persisting for a long time. If they have, you definitely want to follow up with a medical or psychological practitioner for additional support in working through some of the issues that might be causing this. However, for those who only experience milder forms of anxiety and the stress-related results of it to a lesser degree, there are many things that we can do to limit its detrimental effects. If you've watched any of my other videos or have heard me speak about any of these issues in the past, you know that I'm always talking about working with ourselves rather than against ourselves. Part of doing that is exploring the ways in which we can help ourselves to be well. And I'm going to share 3 ideas to get you started doing that right away. The first thing to do is to notice if you have been thinking, feeling, or experiencing any of the symptoms that I've mentioned. The ones that I mentioned are just a few. However, there are many more. So you want to pay attention to the degree and the frequency that you have been experiencing them. It's helpful to keep a journal of some sort to do that. You can use any journal or any notebook, but of course, I would recommend using my daily reflection journal, which you can find in the link in the description. Step 2 is to actively decide to do something about it. Don't do what so many people do with so many other areas. They say they want to achieve something, but then don't actually take any steps towards making it happen. Wishing and wanting does not make it so. And this is our lives that we're talking about. Our one life, the only chance that we'll get to experience it this way. And we have to actively design the lives that we want to lead, or else we will live lives by default. I've also known many people who have experienced anxiety and the stress-related symptoms of it that have resulted in the physical ailments that I mentioned. And they only approach it from the physical or medical standpoint. So they'll visit a doctor, they'll get a quick fix in the form of a pill or a prescription that seemingly takes care of the problem without addressing the other aspects of the cause that would help to actually prevent it from returning. That is also not the best approach. The best approach is always holistic. We want to be sure that we are taking care of our bodies, our minds, and our spirits because they make up the totality of who we are. And we have a much richer experience of life when we are well in all of those areas. Action step number 3 is to commit to starting a daily self-care routine or practice. A commitment is a dedicated effort towards a cause, a person, an activity, or a result. Again, commitment is not something you say, it is something you do. A daily self-care practice need not take a lot of time, especially to start. Because as with all goals, it's best to start small to keep your expectations achievable and to maintain your momentum. That might mean simply starting with 5 to 10 minutes of just being, not doing anything. Or you can use that time to engage in a guided meditation or some other activity that you enjoy. I've linked to a few guided meditations at the end of this video, and you can get started with my 15-day simple self-care challenge by visiting my website and downloading it at educatezen.org. As we go deeper into this series, I'll be sharing more specific information and strategies for working with ourselves as we strive to do our best with less stress and anxiety. If you have friends who could use this information, please post and share this video with them. And if you found it helpful for yourself, remember to hit the like button and subscribe, leave questions or comments if you'd like to hear more. Until next time, continue to take care of your most important relationship, the one you have with yourself, because self-care is not a selfish act. It is an act of self-compassion. See you soon.